The whole Mercury and Gatorade thing's really throwing me off.
Oh my God. I forgot about the, oh my
I lit my little yellow candle back there. That's like my very smallest form of witchcraft is I'll light candles dated to colors that mean things to me, and yellow is
God.
communication. So I was like, burn, baby, burn.
That's the one. Oh my God.
Love it.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of PsycKicks. My name is Liv, and this is the podcast where we talk about all things metaphysical, spiritual, paranormal, and in between. So if you all can't tell because you're not watching the video version of this Sunday's podcast on the main PsycKicks channel, we have two very special guests today. Please welcome Caroline Grace and Emily Benjamin from Live, Laugh, Lore.
Hello. Happy to be here.
I have a button. Which one is it? Is it this one?
No.
Nope.
This is a production.
It is.
Impressed. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I
Amazing.
appreciate that. I need to get like little tiny like labels for my buttons. I remember the
that's no
yellow
fun.
one and the pink one, but all the other ones are just a mystery every time.
I love that though. We have to make all of our own sound effects. So
Oh, you should do it. Go on YouTube.
Yeah.
You can, if you get a little soundboard, or you could download one on your computer. YouTube has free sound effects. That's where I got the nut button.
No.
Specifically from Let's Get Haunted. I made that one for them. So
I
now
love that.
you have it
I
too.
feel like
We should
Caroline
get
would abuse
that.
it though. You would play
I
it while I'm
would.
talking. Yeah. So no,
I
we cannot
know.
have that.
Oh,
we can't have
man.
nice things.
I was trying to think. I was like, how can I connect that to my piano?
Yep.
Do it. You just download the MP3 from YouTube for free. Anyways,
Yes.
Caroline
do
and
that.
Emily are co-hosts of an epic podcast where they take their listeners on fantastical journeys through space and time to uncover all things mythical, magical, and lore. Tune in each Thursday for a podcast that's equal parts enlightening, entertaining. Live, laugh, lore.
That was beautiful.
Thank
Well, thank
you.
Can we just put that at the top of all of our episodes?
I can
That would
send
really be great. Yeah. Thank you so much.
it from my brain. You can have it as a gift.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah,
You
we're
guys-
so excited.
Oh, good. Can you tell me a little bit more about your podcast? How did it come to be?
Well, Caroline and I just think that we're really funny when we talk to each other on the phone. What I have learned since us starting this is that yes, we are really funny, but also we cannot finish a single thought ever.
Yeah.
That makes
So-
good entertainment.
Exactly. So the listeners out there who also struggle with extreme ADHD, come on over.
I'd
It's a great
enjoy.
time. Okay, so we are Live Laugh Lore, and we like to talk about all kinds of spooky folklore, strange historical events, the unexplained, or just fun things that we want to talk about. We are definitely two people that are either your favorite people at a party or you avoid us at a party because we're saying, did you know? And telling you all the facts of things that you probably didn't want to know. But if you do, then you can come listen to us and hang out, and it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's fabulous. Yeah, I loved your name. It's so cute. It's so cute. Absolutely adorable. And when I saw that you guys had covered Mothman, I was like, these are my people. We need to
Yep.
talk
Yeah.
about things.
Moth Daddy.
It's
Moth Daddy.
so
Yeah.
funny. And I think it's great because there's so many podcasts out there now that have been inspired by like other people as well to create things like what our podcasts talk about. And I think that even if, say, Metapsychics might talk about things that Live, Laugh, Lore talk about, listen to both things. Listen to all.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Emily and Caroline are going to have so much more perspective and insight about things that I may miss because I miss a lot of things.
Well, same. Yeah. So maybe
Same.
together we'll get it right. Who
Create some
knows?
sort of cohesive comedy idea.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And also, we do try to do quite a bit of research on it, but there's a lot of stuff that we just don't fully understand or know. And we will tell you too. But
I know that there's things that I've gotten wrong. I've like found things after and the fact, and I'm like, that was
Mhm.
incorrect. But you know what?
and we'll
We're
tell
just
you.
living and learning
Yeah,
and
we are
loring.
living, laughing, and loring one day at a time.
So
Ah.
What podcast episode did we just record? Because I just recorded with them for Live, Laugh, Lore, and now they're going to be guests on Metapsychics. But what number did we just record for?
That was episode 40.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we
Yeah.
just did the Dybbuk box, which MetaPsychics did a long time ago. And now I want to know if it was before or after it came out with the fact that it was all just a big old hoax. So now I kind of want to like go back and be like,
Oh
what
yeah.
what was talked about and what was not talked about.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. Yes, if you guys know what the Dybbuk box is, it was a hoax. Still very fun to learn about though. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's all about
Um, yeah. Especially if you are a Post Malone and or Zach Bagans fan. It's got a little bit of everything.
that sparkled jeans.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So you guys are on Instagram, right? Are you on TikTok or anything like that? Where can we listen to your podcast?
You know, we didn't do any of this for you, and I feel really bad right
I
now.
know.
And I didn't do it for myself though. I can do it for others, but I can't do it for myself. I was
I know, I'm sitting here, I'm
I'm like, guys,
oh
God,
no.
we didn't do this.
Okay, let's record a third time.
no,
Let's
no,
get it right.
perfect. I know you're on Instagram because I
Yes.
haunted you in the background for just a little bit, and I like all
Yes.
now because that's what I try to do when we do collaborations is I just support kindly from the background. Will you hear from me again? No, but will you get little hearts on your screen all the time that'll make you look at the
All we
notifications?
need.
See
That's
my
all we need.
okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are on Instagram. We're on TikTok. Okay, hold on a second. I will give you the handles. Instagram, we're on that app, live laugh lore underscore pod. We're on TikTok, live laugh lore podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, right?
Mhm,
Uh,
mhm.
iHeartRadio is not a thing anymore, right? Did that die?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. Well, the
Yeah.
main two ones, Spotify and Apple Podcasts, which people use,
Mhm.
you can find us on there. You can find us on virtually any platform, to be honest.
Please find us. Yeah, and we also have a Patreon now as well with
Oh,
some bonus
yes.
content in there. So yeah, we're trying to be everywhere all at once.
Very excellent.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, go check out their podcast. Like I said, every Thursday. So if you're not listening to MetaPsychics once a month, you should be listening the rest of the 3 weeks out of the month to Live Laugh Lore.
There you go. There you go.
But
We're filling in the
without,
gaps.
which is perfect. I need help.
Yeah.
Help. Well, without further ado, let's get into today's topic. So, have you guys ever heard about birds aren't real?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm so happy about that.
But I've never looked into it or anything.
Okay,
Because I
good.
do think that birds are real, but I don't know. I don't know what the deal is, I think.
I'm on the fence about birds.
And the birds are on the fence watching you.
Yeah.
Oh,
I believe it.
like I need what are your like small like the birth ideas that you have about birds aren't real? Like where did you hear it from? What is your first impression from when you originally heard for when birds aren't real?
I feel like I think I heard it on like Tumblr when I was a teen. I was a little Tumblr girl in high school. Um I think that was probably maybe the first place I heard it, or like Twitter.
Mm,
And they're like spies, maybe? Don't know. I think
okay.
that's what I heard.
Mhm.
Emily.
My
Same.
little brother had a beanie that said birds aren't real on it. And I asked him, what are you talking about? And he enlightened me. And then I again looked into it for my Halloween party last year, which was conspiracy theory themed. And I had a drink called Birds Aren't Real with Grey Goose vodka in it. And as far as I understand, they are government drones, just like
Oh.
Furbies.
Oh, Furbies are government. That's another conspiracy theory for. Oh no,
It
they didn't.
is.
Furbies because there's like some dude on the internet that was like in the FBI and he's like, listen, just get rid of all your Furbies.
Yes. Do you guys think Labubus are the new Furbies and those are...
What
I
is a
mean,
Labubu?
Oh, I'm too on the internet. Okay.
yeah, it's a new craze of like it's like this little doll that people are buying and it looks terrifying.
It's like a
Um,
keychain for your purse.
yeah,
Okay,
It's ridiculous.
yeah.
got it. I thought Squishmallows were the thing.
I love
Move
Squishmallows.
I
past.
do love those.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, if you guys are listening on the MetaPsychics Extras YouTube channel, let me know in the comments below. Or if you're watching this on the MetaPsychics main channel, because that's where this video will be, let me know what is your first impressions of birds aren't real? Because I have a couple different mixed reviews, which we're going to get into. But to first understand how birds aren't real, we need to do some background on a little group called the CIA. Dun dun. All right, so fun fact. The FBI is and was responsible for domestic security and anti-espionage operations. The CIA, on the other hand, started out as the Office of Strategic Services, or the OSS. It was the first intelligence agency of the United States formed during World War II. The OSS was formed as an agency of the Joint Chief of Staff to coordinate espionage activities behind enemy lines for all branches of the United States Armed Forces. Other OSS functions included as the use of propaganda, subversion, and post-war planning. So it was all like connected to or with the government, if you will, and the military most specifically. However, on September 20th, 1945, shortly after the end of World War II, President Truman signed an executive order dissolving the OSS. But by October 1945, its function had been divided between the Department of State and War, specifically the Strategic Services Unit, or the SSU, the Department of State's Bureaus of Intelligence and Research, the INR, and the Central Intelligence Group, or CIG, the intermediary precursor to the independent Central Intelligence Agency. So it's kind of like they had this government thing for the military to do espionage and like behind the scenes things, think like attaché things. And and then they're like, well, after World War II, we don't need this anymore. This is like silly. And they just broke it down into all these little groups just to make it more obnoxious. Kind of like when we talked about in the original filming of the Dybbuk box, how the Dybbuk was supposed to be like in the box, but then the box exploded and then they had all these, right? That's like what happened to the OSS. So the Central Intelligence Agency wasn't created until July 26, 1947, when President Truman signed the National Security Act into law, which dissolved all of the other groups that I had mentioned before and established both the National Security Council and the Central Intelligence Agency. So, the major reason for the creation of these agencies was growing tensions with the USSR following the end of World War II. So, like the Cold War that was going to start happening. So, unlike past US intelligence groups, the CIA was structured to be comprised of civilians and not military personnel, which is kind of, since you guys want like fun facts, the United States Postal Service used to be a part of the government until the 1970s when it was turned into a civilian group. So, even though all of the people for the Postal Service work for the government, they're not actually paid by the government. Isn't that cool? Because by the Constitution, the United States has to have a formally like created collective postal service. So that's why the USPS is still in law, but it hasn't actually been funded by the government since 70s.
I did not know that. Who funds?
So do we fund it?
Yeah, your business funds it.
Oh yeah, I guess
that's why
things,
it's always struggling, because technically it's like the cheapest way that you can send mail because the US government has to have an established postal service. But yeah, in the 70s, everyone's like, I hate the post office. I'm not paying for it anymore. And the government's like, okay, you technically won't pay for it anymore, but we still have to have it. So good luck with that.
Wow.
So that's kind of what happened with the establishment of the CIA. So the government no longer was controlling it necessarily, but the CIA is a little bit different. We'll get into that. So in 1949, a man by the name of Lawrence Houston, who helped to draft the National Security Act of 1947, which created the CIA, also helped to draft the Central Intelligence Agency Act, which authorized the agency, because we said that they wanted it to be civilian now, no longer government. This dude comes in, this Lawrence Houston guy with the Central Intelligence Agency Act, and he authorizes the CIA to use confidential fiscal and administrative procedures and exempted the organization from most limitations on the use of federal funds. So it's still being federally funded, just like how I assume, just like how your school systems can get federal funding. So they can ask for it from the government, but without asking for it, they don't get it. The act also exempted the CIA from having to disclose its organization, functions, officials, titles, salaries, or numbers of personnel employed, and created the program PL-110 to handle the defectors and other essential aliens who fell outside normal immigration procedures. So, like, amongst all of the, not to say that this podcast is not political, but to say about amongst all of the immigration things that are going on right now, even the
Mhm.
CIA is like, that's kind of silly. And we're going to have a place that says, even if we have, they call them essential aliens. Literally, the CIA talks about it. Anyways,
Huh.
That's
so
crazy.
right. So to handle
Yeah.
defectors and other essential aliens who fell outside normal immigration procedures. So like the USPS, the CIA is a part of the US government, but technically operates outside of it as a civilian employed group. It's
So they
tricky.
found a loophole.
They did. They specifically
Okay.
wrote a loophole in. So
I mean, that makes sense because I mean, when something happens, you never hear the news say like, "Oh, they're sending in the CIA." You always say
Right.
FBI.
yeah.
So,
And the CIA technically doesn't have any like police officers, quote unquote.
yeah,
The FBI does.
Hmm.
I work for the CIA. How do I do
I honestly
I
had the same thought when I was recording this. I'm not gonna lie to you.
that? I would be good at that.
Yeah.
So, following the beginning of the Cold War, which began on March 12th, 1947, a new director of the CIA was appointed, and his name was Alan. I'm going to ruin this because I want to say Dolls.
Nope.
Is that there's an airplane?
Like balls again?
No, it's like Duels, Dulles, or Dulles.
Dallas?
I'm going to say Duels. Maybe I should look it up. I should have done that. I thought about it. It's fine.
It's more fun to struggle through it.
And have people in
That's
the
what I
comments
say.
spell it out for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, his name Alan Duels, and that's where the birds come in, or I guess they fly the coop. Okay,
Whoa.
Ooh.
thoughts on the CIA so far?
I can't tell if I think that they're a little bit shady or if I think that they're ingenious. Maybe a little
I think
bit
they're cool.
of both.
I
Well,
wanna
I'm
work
just
for the
saying, like, they wrote themselves a loophole to where it sounds like they can do
Anything they
pretty
want
much whatever
without
they want.
any.
They can, yeah, operate in their own world entirely while still getting funding,
Mhm.
which
One
is
of my
ideal
one of
for
my
some.
neighbors growing up, he was a retired CIA agent. So
Was he allowed to tell you that?
Did he talk about Furbies?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I knew about that at that point, but my
What
mom
was
would
his
always ask him.
relationship to birds?
I don't know. I had never heard of this stuff. Like he died when I was pretty young, and then my dad stole his trash can, so we had to.
What?
Anyway, besides the point. What was I saying?
FBI for that one.
Okay.
Obviously, from the CIA thing.
My mom would always ask him though if aliens were real, and he would never answer.
But
I don't
now
know if he
the
knew.
aliens are real, so
Yeah, but he was like, he would say the line, "If I told you, I'd have to kill you." You know, I think he was just playing with her. But hold on, you gotta get down. That's enough.
I'm okay with the cat butts. I subdued Sniffles with some really vintage meow mix.
Oh, smart. He was just behind every computer and just moving everything. So
He was involved.
yeah,
All right. With is it Edgar?
yes.
Yes. With Edgar out from behind the monitors, let's move to the backstory. So, when I did my research for this podcast, the only reference to the satirical conspiracy theory I had was from high school and a few friends and a few of their family members, too. One of which, my friend Abby, who I talked about being the anthropology major in episode
Mhm.
of the podcast, she had a t shirt which sported the phrase birds work for the bourgeoisie. And high school. And I mean, it's just, people wear graphic tees. They're like going to Hot Topic and stuff. So you're like, oh, it's just another
Yeah.
tea. I don't really understand it. But there's
Mhm.
this huge conspiracy theory behind it. So I always thought this conspiracy began much earlier than what my research actually uncovered. Like the idea itself was evoked from some 1970s idea that spread to make it to what it is today. But I guess, according to my research, I was wrong. For example, my best friend's dad, she was the one who was wearing the t-shirt in high school, and her dad was in the Navy. And during his military career, he had his best friend, like he and his best friend came up with the following ideas that they still tout today. So one is that the squirrels work for the birds because the squirrels live in the trees. So they see what's going on with the people, and then they run up the trees and tell the birds about it. So they're like the first line of defense in the espionage that's coming from the CIA.
Okay.
right?
I knew there was something going on with squirrels.
Right.
Knew it.
He also said his favorite thing is that the raccoons are the mercenaries because they have maps.
And they have little hands. They can hold
Have
the tools. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, this is making
the
sense.
squirrels, I mean, they're like martyrs essentially because they're always getting killed. So like they're doing this
Mhm.
for good, but they're
But
really
it's
Is
just
it for good?
just for the
or maybe it's not for good, maybe it's to help, but maybe
Yeah.
they think it's good.
it could be.
What a martyr,
Let's hope.
yeah.
Exactly. So like and obviously my friend's parents were born in like the 80s. Well, no, they were born in like they're younger than my parents. So maybe the 70s, but they had these ideas in the 80s. So I'm thinking like maybe it was something from their parents, 70s. It was the 70s, man, whatever. So I thought this was all in like correlation too with like have you ever heard of the kamikaze porpoises?
No.
No,
This is
I've
an
never heard of any of this.
glad.
What else do animals do? My God.
Well, okay, so in the USSR and now like into present day, because I think the US is doing it too, but it's more of a Russian thing. They are trying to teach underwater mammals, specifically of the porpoise variety, how to intercept like communications frequencies as well as move, transport, and sometimes use like explosives in a kamikaze fashion.
Yes, I
So
actually
I
have heard of this.
I'm
Okay,
terrified of dolphins. And this is justified now. I knew there was a reason.
so
Um,
go ahead.
sorry,
Oh,
I've seen this with they did it with orca whales.
hmm?
They put like I don't know if I'm dreaming this or not, but I
They
swear
have
I've
like
seen this
high
somewhere.
technology like
Yes.
strapped to them and they're using
Yes.
like because they can pick up sonar and stuff, they're teaching dolphins and other like sonar using animals how to catch like when other not allied forces are sending like radio communication frequencies because they pick it up with their sonar and then they're being trained to like go back and tell the Russians that people are sending information.
See,
It's a
and
whole
who's
thing.
trusting the dolphins? The message that they bring back. What if it's not the right one?
Well,
They have their own agenda, is what I'm saying.
They could have their own
it's
agenda. They do like to get
record
high on cuttlefish.
Nope.
it's recorded, isn't it? I mean,
I don't know.
definitely the dolphins aren't like speaking back to the
The
humans.
dolphins, they have an agenda, I'm telling you.
Maybe they just like flip a little button that's strapped to them and that like it turns it red and that's how they communicate to the humans that like there's some stuff being said and they need to send some other people out
Oh,
to interpret it. I think it would be so cool to actually work as like an animal behaviorist in one of these operations because who doesn't, well, except for you, Emily, want to work with dolphins.
I would. I
I'm actually
love
all set.
dolphins.
I
That's
think
actually Caroline's spirit animal. We took a
Yeah.
spirit animal quiz, and she's a dolphin.
it's very cute. What is yours?
I'm a badger, which I feel very
Honey
proud of.
Badger doesn't give a shit.
Yep. And you know
Yeah.
what else? Honey badgers do not fuck around with dolphins at all.
No.
It's
No.
true.
Mm-mm.
On the land.
Mm-mm.
Anyway.
We didn't ask. Are we allowed to say the
Oh,
F
yeah,
word
sorry.
on this? Is
Yeah.
YouTube like? Oh, okay.
Cool. So, kamikaze porpoises is what we were talking about.
Mhm.
But
Yes, yes,
remember,
yes.
my friend's dad and his friend were in the Navy, so they knew about this stuff, and it is true. So, the term used for the Russian and the former Soviet Union military program that involved training dolphins and other marine mammals for underwater tasks, they were carrying, they call them bobs, which is likely meaning explosive devices. It's often referred to unofficially as the Russian Navy Marine Mammal Program or variations like the Soviet Navy Marine Mammal Program. And this was all during the Cold War era. So I'm just
Oh
like,
my
okay, this
God.
has to like come, this conspiracy theory has to come from something like this. Um,
Mhm.
so specifically, the Soviet program reportedly trained dolphins to attach explosives to enemy vessels and to detect mines. The Russian military has reportedly revived and continues to utilize these programs, with dolphins deployed in the Black Sea to defend naval bases from potential underwater attacks by divers. And there were even reports of dolphins being trained as kamikaze dolphins with explosives strapped to them in suicide attacks, although the success of the missions are unclear.
Okay, I don't like dolphins, but I don't want that to happen to them.
I don't
That's
think
It's
that
horrible.
I don't think that they should be using them to explode themselves with other.
no,
The
However,
dolphin doesn't know that it's a suicide bomber.
no. Maybe it does.
Or maybe it does.
I don't know, but
it's not right. Animal rights
not
All
activists
right.
are going to be very upset about it. I'm also upset about it, but
Yeah.
when it comes to the idea of birds aren't real, I'm just
Mhm.
thinking that it comes from like the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. Like
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
MK Ultra, like that era of stuff.
Mhm.
So,
Jeez.
yeah. Anyways, so I figured that the conspiracy theory that birds aren't real was based on something back from the 70s, or at least something more factual or unambiguous than one dude from 2017 who made a silly sign to combat pro-Trump counter protesters at a women's march in Memphis, Tennessee.
It was that recent?
Yes.
Wait, what year?
2017, my friends.
Okay, then it was not on Tumblr.
But what if it was? This could
Yeah, I
also
was
be
gonna
like
say.
a weird Mandela effect because I swear I sat down to do this thing because I was like, I'm gonna do live, laugh, lore. This is gonna be fun. They want lore. I've never really done conspiracy theories, so this has to be cool. I'm gonna find some like MK Ultra stuff, some like old like military operations from the CIA and the FBI and all this other stuff. No, a dude in 2017.
That's so recent.
Exactly. So, yes, birds aren't real. It's just like most things metaphysical. It's just one big satirical joke. But just because it's not the conspiracy theory you thought it might have been doesn't mean that it isn't fun to get into the inside joke and learn about the story Peter McInode fabricated. So, let's get into it.
Let's go.
Isn't that crazy?
My
Wow,
mind is
that's
blown.
I could have sworn that this was something that I saw in
Like,
high school.
what year
but
is it? Where are we? What is going on?
It's like almost 10 years later.
It's it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, with the stuff that my friend's dad was saying and everything else, I 100% like went into this research and I just for like at least an hour or two of
Yeah.
researching stuff, I was just getting rid of this Peter dude. And I was like, you don't know anything. Apparently he does, and he's the one who made it.
Oh
Or
my God.
like maybe he was raised like how we were with ideas and stuff of the CIA, and then this thought just popped out of his mind because it's all something
Right.
that we've been thinking, and then he put it on a sign, and now he gets credit for it.
Yeah, like the concept isn't
Mm.
new, but the
Yeah.
phrase is new.
Yeah, just like
Mm.
That
the
makes me feel a little bit better about it.
just like the vampires and the mermaids from different countries.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's
There's
super
always been something
real.
shady about the birds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People have fears of birds though too, so it
Yeah,
plays
they
into
do.
that like an actual psychological doctor feeler. Anyway, um, so there's claims that the CIA was founded solely to track potentially communist Americans. And these claims were backed up by the factual event of the 1951 trial and conviction of Julius and Ethel Rosenberg, who were arrested and convicted of espionage against the US. So Julius was a real spy working for the USSR, but his wife's guiltiness of such crimes is still debated today, even after their execution on June 19th, 1953. So, there's claims about the CIA wanting to talk about communist things and always be vigilant of communism in America. So that's kind of where I think the basis of birds aren't real was built on. So Peter goes on to say, if you go on to like, I highly recommend. I'll have all of the sources that I have linked to this in the description below or in the show notes, depending on where you're listening. But he goes on to say that because of this publicized event, with the trial of Julius and Ethel Rosenberg, the government used it as a reason to implement the first CCTV surveillance cameras in American neighborhoods with high Russian immigrant populations. So specifically where the Russian immigrant population was large, they had closed circuit TVs to watch people to help ward off communism, which
Mm.
is a huge thing even today, which is funny because this was in the 1940s and now it's 2025. So,
I know, I was about to say, I was like, we always kind of find the scapegoat.
yeah.
Yep.
So it's cool to figure out, like, how they talk about being able to discern facts from fiction today with all media that's going on,
Yeah.
AI and all this
Mhm.
other stuff. This dude in 2017 has the most hilarious thing. And like, go on to Birds Aren't Real when we're done with this and just read it. It is so, so funny. I don't want to just like take all of it from Peter's website because that wouldn't be cool. But I share the meat and potatoes of it, but the rest of it you guys really have to go read because it is like a TED Talk masterclass in being able to try and discern fake media. And it's almost like the beginning of it is pretty hard to discern, but the more you read, the more ridiculous it gets. And that's like why it's satirically so funny because it's so like
Interesting.
writing. And so Peter
Interesting.
goes on to talk about how this publicized event for the US government is the reason that it implemented the first CCTV surveillance cameras in American neighborhoods. However, this is not a factual statement as far as I could tell, aside from that the first CCTV was introduced to the American market in 1949 by Vericon. But it wasn't used for like government purposes initially. It was more just like little backyard things for like people's more important shops and things like that.
Hmm. I
So,
have a question.
yeah.
Is this like around the same time that all the wiretapping was happening? Like, I don't know
I
if it was the CIA or FBI or whatever, but a government agency was like listening in on people's phone conversations and it became a
Oh,
whole like constitutional, like, is this okay thing?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
are,
Okay.
or are you referring to when post 9/11? Because that
No, this
was
was like
also a
Cold
thing. Oh,
War
okay, never
era.
mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
This is
sure
all
it's come up multiple
era,
times,
Mm.
but
like 1940s,
Oh, way
50s.
before that. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is
Mm.
just, how Peter builds the story of how it came into things, which I think is why
mm-hmm.
also too we thought that it was before this guy because we've only heard
Mm-hmm.
the story but not who actually created
Right.
the story, and he does such a good job of it. So he continues by saying that in 1953, when Alan Dulles was made the first civilian director of the CIA, he made it his mission to take hiding cameras to monitor the US population, his life's mission. So much so that on April 15th, 1956, Dulles met with the President Eisenhower to pitch his plan that would result in the mass destruction of the American aviation population as we know it. So we talk about Alan Dulles and the actual like history of the founding of the CIA, and this guy uses his names and like certain dates and little things that line up to make it seem even more real.
Mm.
It's
I mean,
crazy. So according to the Birds Aren't Real website, quote, according to Peter, he says, it is believed that the initial plan for killing all of the birds and replacing them with flying cameras was thought up one weekend in May of 1956. In a stolen transcript from an ex-CIA deputy, she says, yeah, the higher-ups were so annoyed that the birds had been dropping fecal matter on their car windows that they vowed to wipe out every single flying feathered creature in North America. Dulles and his team wanted to create the greatest surveillance system ever imagined, with the capability of tracking someone on foot, in a vehicle, and even in their personal homes.
oh my goodness.
My gosh.
Yeah, what if you got like one of those cute little birds that you get from the pet store and they're just there? They're watching you.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
now
I have a bird feeder like in my kitchen window and they just sit there and stare sometimes. So,
they're
You
actually
know,
watching you.
maybe
mhm.
cats are in on this. And that's why they like to catch birds because they're trying to fight them.
Oh, you think the cats are fighting the government?
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Then
I, okay. I love it. Love
I
it, love it, love it.
so many people had little caged birds in their houses for so long, but now everyone has Alexa.
Oh,
Which honestly, that
oh
makes
no.
a lot of sense. That, yeah. I
And
mean,
now you have the bird feeders too that strap onto the windows that have the little cameras that you can stream to your phone with the internet. It's just watching Inception.
I
Oh,
also I do like the idea that they did not wipe out all of the birds possibly, and like some of them are real and some of them aren't, and that the real
Oh,
birds are like walking up to the fake birds and like trying to, do their thing and just are facing rejection probably every single time, which is a little bit sad now that I think about it, but
well, I mean,
confusing.
I hate to burst your bubble, but if you really believe in this conspiracy theory as hard as I do, I hate to tell you that how according to Peter did the director Dulles carry out his mass avian genocide. I'm gonna tell you.
oh
All of the
Okay.
gosh.
Billions. They're all gone. They're all robots. Not a single one. You thought you ate chicken nuggets earlier. I'm telling you right now that
Oh
it's
my God, chicken.
No.
What?
Oh wait, I don't eat meat. I don't care. What is it?
I don't know, but I'm sure Peter could tell you.
Oh,
What
no.
is it? What are those turkey things that we eat at Thanksgiving?
They're not birds.
I
They've
mean,
been
I will tell
out.
you, McDonald's chicken nuggets, there is
It's
no
not
way that
chicken.
that's chicken. And I worked at McDonald's, so let me crack that case for you. It's paste.
Okay.
That's true. I also worked at McDonald's. So, according to the mass genocide of Birds Aren't Real, the website, it's just because the words he used are so funny. I want to quote that he says, "Here are the facts and eyewitness accounts of various key events that occurred within our nation that completely destroyed every man, woman, and child bird in existence." So it is every single one of them. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Every man, woman, and child bird. The
Video
drama.
There's a video on the internet of a pigeon walking through the Kremlin Square,
Uh-huh.
and he's walking, and then all of a sudden his wing comes out, like he salutes
Oh my God.
Putin, and then just keeps walking, and I was like,
Oh my
AI,
God.
it's so good. All
Oh
right,
my God.
so Peter goes on to state that 12 billion birds were killed between 1959 and 1971 using the funds of approximately 65 billion in tax dollars. 120 B-52 bombers and 23 men from Boeing were employed to assemble each bomber individually under the protection of Area 51 in Nevada. So all of that government cheese that apparently the
Mhm.
CIA isn't getting, well, 65 billion of that was given to the Birds Aren't Real project in order to wipe out all avian species across North America.
You
So,
know, I wouldn't even be that shocked at this point. If you had told this story like 10 years ago, I'd been like, or even before then, I would have been like, wow, there's no way.
and then
This
you would
seems more believable now.
get your birds on your bird feeder and be like, that squirrel is
Yeah.
really trying to get to the bird feeder. It's not because they want the bird feeder food. It's because they're trying to tell the birds what are happening so
They're
that they can
communicating.
relay it to the government. Exactly.
So
Oh,
you mean when I'm upset and I'm talking to the trees and that bird comes and sits next to me, it's not like a spiritual thing, it's just the government being like,
it is.
Yep.
It's not your
It's an agent.
grandfather in the form of a cardinal to give you spiritual solace. It's only purely for the CIA.
Mm-hmm.
They want to
don't
know.
tell anyone in the South that.
That's
They do not want to hear
No, they don't. All right.
my
So,
grandpappy.
yeah, we could talk about that as a medium later. Ruining so many people's lives. It's all satire. So, although instead of being secretly transported like the alleged parts of the 120 B-52 bombers, which were to be constructed in Area 51, so like they got the parts from Boeing, and then instead of just buying the planes as a whole, the government, this Alan Doles guy is like, hey, we're just gonna buy the parts, hire the dudes to put them together, and then put them together in Area 51 so that no one really knows like what we've used to purchase this stuff from. So yeah, anyways, they're like trying to get around from it. But so they buy all these things in parts and ship them to Area 51 to try and hide things. But according to Birds Aren't Real, the 23 guys from Boeing drove cross country from, I think it's Mukilteo, Washington. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, to Nevada in an old salvage yard school bus that they decked out in random couches and rugs and adorned with the words Area 51 or bust painted on the sides.
Oh my God.
So all 23 Boeing engineers made it to their destination except for one who was supposedly left behind in a Waffle House bathroom because the others complained he, quote, had to pee too many times and was ruining the vibe of the road trip. His
I
name
wish
Oh
Neil.
my God.
I
A Waffle
empathize
House
with him. I
bathroom.
feel like that's my
Yeah.
life.
Well, remember how I said Peter puts all this together with like factual, like it's all half truths mixed with some.
Yeah.
So it's fun to try and discern what the half truths are amongst the entire lie that is this conspiracy theory itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to cross-reference some of the claims in his fun little conspiracy theory, and I'd like to point out that a lot of what Peter McCone's story is chocked full of, like what I said, half-truths, which help
Mhm.
it make it just be so much more fun. But one of the bigger lies of what's being said was about Neil Ford, this quote-unquote guy that got left behind. So I was looking up, like, they're traveling from Washington, right? Which is like where Boeing is actually situated, established, whatever, to Nevada. So if you look at the states, they could drive theoretically in their old salvage yard school bus from Oregon to Nevada, or they could even do a pit stop and do Oregon, Idaho, Nevada, which is kind of like really going roundabout. But I looked out that the founding date of Waffle House wasn't until Labor Day in 1955, and it opened in Avondale Estates, Georgia. There has never, ever, ever been a Waffle House in the west coast of the United States. They're only secluded in the East Coast.
Well, there is now, but that's recent.
Is there?
Yes, very, very
Oh,
few. I about like
Yeah.
screamed when I saw Waffle House in Phoenix. I was like, oh my God, it's here. But it, yeah, definitely did not start here at all.
I
Yeah.
mean, if
Huh.
you want to talk about spiritual experiences, you will have probably the most spiritual experiences anyone can have in a Waffle House, especially
1000%.
like from the times of 12 until like 3 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
That would
Mm-hmm.
actually be a really cool place to do a paranormal investigation would be a
Oh
walk.
my God.
Oh my
I
God.
would love that. Also, you will never feel more protected than when you are in a Waffle House because the people that work at Waffle House don't play at
No.
They
all.
don't.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
No,
Yeah.
they've got you. They've
Yeah.
got you. Yeah. Love
They
Waffle House.
have their own little like saint candles.
They
I was talking with one of my friends
so
from she's from Tennessee, and we were talking about people that should be brought into sainthood, and we said Dolly Parton should be one of them.
Yes.
yes.
Yes. Yes. I would
Yeah.
second that. I don't know how we make that happen, but I think it should happen. Also,
Mm.
I am very happy to hear that you pronounce Nevada like Nevada and
Yeah.
not Nevada.
This is Nevada.
So many
Me?
people, everyone on the eastern side of the states, they say Nevada. And I'm like, no,
Oh,
no,
It's like
everyone.
Appalachian versus Appalachian.
Yeah,
yeah.
very true.
Why do you say Appalachian or Appalachian?
Appalachian.
Oh, okay. Got it, got it, got it. I've
Have
heard,
you always heard of Appalachian?
yeah, well, like in the East Coast where I'm from, they say Appalachian, but I've heard that when you talk about Appalachia, I call it Appalachia.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll say
Yeah.
Appalachian Mountains, but the place in which the people are is Appalachia.
Interesting. I've where from the East Coast are you from?
The place in which licking doorknobs is illegal.
Where I'm from, it's always been Appalachia.
Yeah.
Just
Appalachia.
well, I'm also from a place where people like to fight over whether it's called pop or soda.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I know
Mhm.
more in the South, y'all call it soda,
Mhm. We
and
do.
more in the Upper East, they call it pop.
Oh my
Anyway,
goodness.
Waffle houses don't exist in the West Coast, at least not in 1971.
Mm-mm.
No,
Nope.
1959. I said, perhaps this is something a guy from Memphis, Tennessee would overlook. Dun dun. So continuing on with Peter's conspiracy, he goes on to say that Neil Ford, the one member that was left behind in the Waffle House bathroom in somewhere near Nevada, told the birds aren't real founding members his side of the story before his death in 1994, including the claims that Dulles looked for Boeing engineers with no family to recruit, making their disappearance after the completion of the project that much easier to hide. It is claimed that the 22 engineers, upon their arrival to Nevada, were taken and given the task of designing a new version of the B 52, the B 52B. The B stands for birds or barrack, and it's a brand new model for the B 52 that had a 450-gallon water tank in place of the bomb compartments. So my favorite quote so far in reading The Birds Aren't Real is, quote, the water tanks were hard to design and one of the engineers almost gave up, but Dawes hit him over the head with a 40-pound wrench to try and, quote, knock some sense into him.
Oh my
Oh my
God, that would
goodness.
kill him.
What?
40 pounds. A wrench.
What kind of wrench is this? Oh my God.
No,
Big wrenches. They really
My goodness.
huge.
Also, Neil had the last laugh with all of this. Like he was
right?
spared. They thought they were like, screw you, we're leaving you behind. But really, they just saved him in
Yeah.
that
I mean,
mythical Waffle House.
mythical Waffle House.
Yeah.
So Peter then goes on to say that the only reason the birds aren't real movement knows these details, aside from Neil Ford's testament, is from the quote 12 pallets of classified documents that were stolen from a warehouse by one of the birds aren't real patriots. I would also like to point out that the birds aren't real patriots sounds a lot like parrots to me. So who actually wrote the history of birds aren't real?
So you're telling me he's a whistleblower or has his own bird song?
The blower.
That was a stretch. That was a stretch.
I love it. I love
But
it.
it was worth it.
Anywho, moving on.
Paid off.
The 120 B-52 bombers were assembled and fitted with water tanks in lieu of bomb chambers. There was a complex system of radar and tracking technology that was assembled onto the planes that was used to track large flocks of birds from distances of 200 miles away. 5 coats of jet black matte paint was sprayed onto every surface of the plane to camouflage the aircraft against the night sky. And each external strobe, beacon, and landing light was removed so that not a single light emitted from the plane. And finally, the Pratt & Whitney JT3D engines were fitted with noise reduction pads that enabled the aircraft to fly completely silently from altitudes of 3,000 feet or higher. So you just wanted to know, Emily, how all of the birds could be gone. I'm just telling you. This is
I'm just telling you the facts,
I'm just
essentially,
telling you how it
right?
is.
straight from the birds aren't real website.com, if you will. And we all know what our teachers taught us in school about .com websites as references for actual.
They're valid. They're always valid.
Always 100%.
Right.
So again, a little sleuthing for the fact-checking things that Peter was so fantastical about. The first B-52 Stratofortress bomber prototype was flown in April 15th, 1952, and it was called the YB-52. However, the first time a B-52 in Stratofortress was used in combat was in June 1965 in the Vietnam War, and no Pratt & Whitney JT3D engines were used in any B-52 bombers ever.
Got them.
Just to
Also, is that why they're called B-52s? Because they were made in 52?
and B for birds? Oh no.
Or bomb, but bird is more likely, I would
The
say.
bird,
Bird's
area,
good.
well, 52. Isn't it area 51?
Area
Oh my
52.
goodness.
Yeah, but Area 52 is the lesser known.
Yeah,
It's all coming together.
it is. The specific big old chamber that they put those big old things.
Yeah. Area 51 was the land. B-52 was the sky.
Yeah.
It's all connected.
Sounds
is.
like
Together.
they're like bingo. Like
52.
B-52.
All right. So now, how were the birds killed in such large masses, may you ask? The aerial water tanks were filled with a poison that only affected birds through viral transmission. The fluid was sprayed at an altitude of 8,000 feet and would dissolve before it hit the ground. So no human fatalities could happen from this. The birds, however, once sprayed and infected with the virus, would decompose and fall to the ground, and with 24 hours of death, they would leave no trace behind. Specifically, it attacked the bone systems of birds because that's what makes them fly. So then they'd fall to the ground and just completely disappear.
would they just decompose?
Mm-hmm. Before they even hit the ground, within 24 hours. There was no trace.
Like
That's-
Rasputin in the movie. Yeah. The
So
yeah.
on June 2nd, 1959, Operation Water the Country would commence. Within the next 6 years, 15% of the world population was killed and replaced by the quote 100 million bird prototypes were referred to as robot birds. And so much so in Birds Aren't Real, they go into talking about how they wanted to call it, or they changed the it says they changed Operation Water the Country to Operation Big Bird or Giant Bird, something like that. It talks about how they had to for that the copyrights were correct so they wouldn't get in trouble by Sesame Street.
Oh my
But
God.
how would Sesame Street know? It's a secret.
It is. It should be a
Are
secret.
they in on it?
Oh. I mean, let's talk about Big Bird. He's
I
Big
mean,
Bird.
things.
is he not real?
He's definitely not real.
Lied to since we were children.
So, over the next 6 years, 15% of the bird population was replaced and killed by bird prototypes known as bird or robot birds. So apparently, even JFK didn't know what was happening. The pilots of the planes were told that they were, quote, watering the grass of the entire country. That is until October 3rd, 1963, when JFK allegedly had created a wiretapped phone. See, Emily, because you were talking about wiretaps.
Mm-hmm.
In order to catch Alvin B. Cleaver, the internal communications director for the CIA at the time, to admitting to stealing his ham sandwiches from the White House kitchen.
Did he admit to it? Did he do
Not
it?
only did JFK catch Cleaver confessing to the crime, but also to the mass genocide of 22 million American birds.
I mean, one is clearly more important than the other.
Ham sandwiches,
The
I think.
sandwiches, yes. Yep.
I thought it was
Justice.
Yes, I stole your ham sandwich. And also,
Side note. Yeah.
So on October 25th, 1963, President Kennedy was shown a prototype called the Turkey X500. So when you're eating things, just remember. Turkey X500 was shown to President Kennedy in an attempt to gain his favor of the CIA Operation Water the Country, but he still insisted that it be shut down. Peter then goes on to say, quote, Kennedy was impressed with what he was shown, but continued to demand that the immediate shutdown of the operation happen. And less than a month later, he was dead. Quote, he continues saying, now I'm not saying that these events are correlated, but I am. JFK was murdered by the CIA because he was against the mass murder of every feathered flying creature in the United States. He was to be the first and only president to stand against the murder of birds. From Lyndon Johnson to Donald Trump, every president we've had since has turned a blind eye to the atrocities that have began in 1959. After Kennedy was killed, the CIA started rigging elections. They would only allow candidates who were anti-bird and pro-citizen surveillance to win the presidency, unquote.
Oh
you
my
think Jimmy
goodness.
Carter was okay?
Obama.
Obama.
You're better than this, Obama. Oh my God.
Yeah, wow.
Oh, I just woke up my cat. She has things to say.
That's because she fights the birds.
Yeah.
All right, so
Oh.
see, she knows. She knows what's up. So, like I said, I highly recommend doing your own research on the conspiracy that birds aren't real, especially going on to birdsaren'treal.com because it gives you the hard-hitting facts and truths about the mass genocide of the American aviation population. Final things that I would like to say is that Peter then goes on to say that the Vietnam War was actually a guise to steal aluminum ore only found in large enough quantities in Vietnam to build the robot birds, and that the factories used to build the robot birds were stationed in underground weapon bunkers, and all the personnel used to build the machines were, quote, tripping balls on acid. That's why no one remembers what has ever happened. If you'd like to read more,
Convenient.
visit the Birds Aren't Real website. It's fun read. What are your thoughts?
Do you think
Okay,
this guy is mentally okay?
I think if he was at a party with all of us and we didn't know who he was, we'd really, really like him.
I think
You're
so
right.
too. Yeah. I think he would be
You're
part
right.
of the thing that I was saying earlier about he'd either be someone you'd love at a party or someone you'd really be avoiding at a party. So depending on who you are,
So
he'd fit right in.
much.
So then what is bird flu?
It
How does
might,
that fit in?
you know,
Like, are they mass updating the software? And so they have to say, oh no, the birds, they're not working anymore. It's a
probably
bird flu.
that's a very, very plausible hypothesis that you have.
Thank you.
What about when they lay eggs? and it is all mushy inside and there's no metal.
It's probably because they need an oil change.
There you go.
It's an oil spill. Okay, got it.
It's all of the fluids that they're changing. The squirrels run up the trees and bring them the new resources, and then they're expelled in the form of eggs.
Okay.
So then are the squirrels also robots or are they real squirrels?
I think the squirrels fall underneath the same guise of kamikaze porpoises, so they're actual real
Okay.
animals.
What
So,
about
okay.
what is that thing that I break at Thanksgiving? The wishbone.
I think these are all fabulous questions to answer. And if
Okay,
I
we
was
need to
a
get
real psychic medium, I would be able to channel the soul of, what was it, Fred Neal? That one?
Yeah,
And he could tell me these answers.
but there's nothing.
Oh, Neil Ford. Neil Ford.
Neil Ford.
very close. Yeah. Um, yeah, that is insane. I want to
I
know what am I eating?
I'm honestly just very impressed with the story.
Yeah.
It's so good. You guys should go read it. It's so funny.
Yeah.
It's
I
not the conspiracy
also
theory that I thought we were going to have, but it's the one that everyone needed.
It
it's the one that we
is.
needed. I also know, and this makes me a little bit sad, that there are definitely people out there that genuinely, with their whole heart, believe this to be true.
Yes.
And I wish them the best.
They may. They may. I don't know about that necessarily. I tried to research a little bit of it. There was an old podcast called The Eldritch Estate, and they no longer post things. And they did a birds aren't real conspiracy theory. It's the only other thing that I'd ever like listened to
Mhm.
2-3 years ago when I listened to it. And I was also working while I was listening to it. So like the fact that it was all just a satirical conspiracy, I think eluded my mind. So when I was like, I'm prepared
Right.
for this, it's gonna be great. They
I
talk about
mean,
there's actually people that do believe it, but when I was trying to look
Mhm.
up more concrete evidence of that, I wasn't able to find any. But there might be.
mm,
Reddit could really probably
yeah,
shine on that.
I think somebody's uncle somewhere is probably talking about it at Thanksgiving. I'm
Mhm.
not going to eat that turkey. That's the
Shouldn't.
CIA.
It is.
Yeah.
Um, I've definitely met people that I don't know if they're just playing, but they will argue about it. I have met people that have argued about it, really truly thinking that. But sometimes I
And
think they're just trolling me, so I don't.
Got it. I want to know, do you guys think that birds aren't real in the comments below? You should really let us know. We'll just have a
Yeah.
fight about whoever wins.
yes.
You can decide. But
Hmm.
all right. Thank you guys so much for being on this Sunday's episode. Again, tell the people where you can be found at.
Well, first off, thank you so much.
Yes.
Yes, this was so much fun. But yeah, we can be found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and also Patreon. Live Laugh Lore on Patreon. We have a lot of bonus content there too. And then we are also on Instagram and TikTok as well.
Excellent. Every
Yes.
Thursday, guys, go
Every Thursday.
listen to the Moss Daddy podcast. What were your favorite ones that you've recorded so far?
Oh, I think my favorite was the elevator game. That one
Oh,
was really creepy
okay.
and genuinely
Mhm.
scared me. What about you, Caroline?
Um, I think I really like the Slender Man one.
That one was good too.
I do really enjoy.
Yeah.
Your man is creepy. Do you guys read creepy pastas?
Yep.
Creepy pastas absolutely wrecked me in college when I would be
Hmm.
bored at my job when I was done doing homework. And there was this one that I read, and I've never been able to find it again, where you think someone is losing their mind or like in alternate realities. And then at the end of it, you realize that the person that's talking about it is from the perspective of someone that has dementia.
Oh,
I cried at the end of reading it. I wish I could find it because I want to like show it to someone who could actually publish it because I think it was that like
yeah.
that people should read it. Anyways, creepy pasta.
That's kind of like that reminds me of Shutter Island, kind
Yeah.
of, sort of. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, creepypasta. I can understand why people thought creepypasta stories were real because they are
Mhm.
written so well.
They are.
And yeah, so I get it. Sometimes our storytelling abilities are just too good.
So even though this podcast took 2 attempts, because the first time we didn't record the Dybbuk box, which is episode 40 on Live Left, right? 40?
Yes.
Excellent. Episode 40 on Live Laugh Lore. It's interesting that we didn't necessarily talk about like what we should or shouldn't do. You just said, "Hey, I'm going to do the Dybbuk box." And then I was like, "That's cool. I'm going to do Birds Aren't Real." And now that we've recorded both of them, they both kind of line up that they were made up stories.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do.
To, you know, get the masses going.
Yeah.
Like maybe this was all a conspiracy to begin with.
Dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Anyways, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Until next time, peace.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Bye.